This is a special meeting of the City Council being held for the purpose of organizing city government for the year 2017. At this time, I would ask Senior Member Councilor Thomas Fury to assume the chair.
Thank you. It's my honor. Exceptional cities are an exception. Salem is an exceptional city. In less than a decade, we will be celebrating our 400th birthday as a city. We are in the second oldest city hall, active city hall in the country now. St. Augustine, Florida has the distinction of being the oldest city hall active. I wish to thank Cheryl LaPointe and Eileen Simons for this tradition of continuing this tradition of a beautiful tradition of this night celebrating local democracy in action in our oldest city hall. Thank you very much, Cheryl. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you. And thank you for each and every one of you for being here tonight. It's a very special night for all of us, for family and friends. It's a rich tradition of local government and democracy in action. So thank you very much for being here, and I now call upon Councilor Dibble, Councilor Sargent, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you. I now recognize Councilor Girard.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, January 5th, 2017, ordered that the City Council proceed to organize for 2017 by the election of a president.
Councilor Girard.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I have the great pleasure of nominating Councilor Elaine Milo as our next president.
I second the motion.
Councilor Lovely.
Nominations be closed.
All those in favor of closing nominations? Nominations are closed. And now, for a roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, for our new incoming council president, Councilor Elaine Milo. Councilor Arch.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Epley?
Yes.
Councilor Famico?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Girard?
Yes.
Councilor Lovely?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Present.
Councilor Ryan?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
And Councilor Turiel?
Yes.
Thank you. 11 members present, 10 voting, 10 in the affirmative. Congratulations to Councilor Large Elaine Milo as our new council president. I now appoint Councilor McCarthy and Councilor Famico to escort our newly elected council president to the chair.
I promised I wasn't going to trip her.
Thank you. Mayor Driscoll, Senator Lovely, Representative Tucker, Chief Butler, Chief Cody, Superintendent Ruiz, City Council, school committee members, Madam Clerk, my fellow council members, and guests. Thank you all for coming this evening. Let me begin by extending an enthusiastic and a heartfelt thank you to my colleagues on the council who have given me this great honor and opportunity to lead us through 2017. I must extend a special thank you to our Dean of the Council, Councilor Tom Fury, who was the first person to encourage me to seek the post. Thank you, Councilor Fieri. Much appreciated. You know, we on the council may not always agree on the issues, but there's one thing that I'm very sure of, and that's that we're all looking to make Salem a better place for everyone. You know, the fact that we may sometimes disagree and how to get there, I think just reinforces the importance of the process, and I also believe that it results in a better outcome. You know, local government, in my opinion, and Councilor Fieri mentioned this earlier, is the purest form of our democracy. You know, we all have our respective roles to play in the process, whether it's as legislators, executive, or active or concerned citizens. And now more than ever, I feel that it's incumbent upon us, the legislators, to work collaboratively as equal partners with the administration to make Salem a better city for all. Always being mindful that many of the decisions that we make here in this chamber affect every citizen in Salem every day. So what do I envision for Salem? It's pretty simple. I see Salem as a place where folks can grow up and grow old. A place that values everyone and all neighborhoods. A place where our cultural, economic, and racial diversity makes it a richer city in which to live. I think Hubert Humphrey said it well when he said, "The moral test of government is how that government treats those who are in the dawn of life, the children, the twilight of life, the elderly, and those who are in the shadows of life, the sick, the needy, and the handicapped." So 2017, I say to you, bring it on. My colleagues and I are ready to meet whatever challenges you may bring with a renewed commitment to continued progress in Salem. So again, I'd like to thank the members of the City Council for placing their confidence in me to lead us all through 2017. And what I say to my fellow council members is we've got this, so let's do it. I now recognize Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, sir.
I'm glad that I was able to say that for the first time. City of Salem and City Council, January 5th, 2007, ordered that the rules and regulations of the City Council for the year 2016 be adopted as the rules and regulations for the year 2017, and that the same be suspended for this meeting.
All those in favor? All those opposed? It is voted. I'd like to now recognize Councilor Turrio.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, January 5th, 2017, ordered that Her Honor the Mayor be invited to address the members of the council at this session.
All those in favor? All those opposed? It's so voted. And now it gives me great pleasure at this time to introduce to you all the Honorable Mayor Kimberly Driscoll, Mayor of Salem, who will address the City Council. Mayor?
It's deadly up here. Watch out. Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Milo. And congratulations on your election as council president. I'm looking forward to spending more time with you and working to set the agenda for the year on the number of projects and proposals that we'll be working on. Congratulations. Thank you to the council for this opportunity to offer brief remarks on the state of our city. I also want to recognize some of the other elected officials who have joined us this evening. We have school committee members Chris Wilson and Jim Fleming here. Thank you for being here and for all you're doing on behalf of our kids to work in our Salem Public Schools. We're fortunate to be joined by our state senator, former colleague Joan Lovely, and our state representative, also a former colleague, Paul Tucker. And so thrilled, I did see Kevin Coppinger in the back of the room there, our just recently appointed state sheriff, or elected state sheriff, who was just sworn in yesterday. I want to thank him for his partnership to date. So thank you for the opportunity to come before you this evening and share some of the success we've had over the last decade and also some of the challenges ahead. On January 2nd, 2006, 11 years ago, almost to the day, I was fortunate enough to address an overcapacity crowd in Old Town Hall as part of my first inaugural address. City crews had worked tirelessly to prepare Old Town Hall for the festivities. I was a new mayor in an old building that had great historic bones, but was in need of some attention. I touched upon that fact during my remarks and made an analogy between the building, a historic landmark in our city. Both were historic and beautiful, but struggled to meet their full promise and potential. On that day, I vowed to provide an administration that would be based on professionalism, not politics, that would be hardworking and creative, and one that would be inclusive and open to all. By that time, we knew there'd be some challenges, and we pledged to face them by communicating with straight talk and open dialogue. Those of you who are with me, either on the stage that day, and many of you were, or in the audience, will remember we faced a bruising fiscal crisis. Weeks before being sworn into office, the city had depleted virtually all of our reserves to pay past dues, and for the first time in memory, we actually had to borrow money to be sure that we could pay teachers, police officers, firefighters, and other city employees. In short, we were broke. And I'm not just referring to the balance in our financial accounts. We had poor budget practices, for sure, but more than that was broken. At that point in time, governing at the local level too often consisted of settling scores and gotcha games with regular sparring between branches of government. It often felt like we'd take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. With my background in city management, on that day, we talked of working collaboratively, in particular with the City Council, to address the fiscal crisis. Closing a $3.5 million deficit involved many hard choices in a short period of time, from layoffs to reorganizations and lots of saying no. We talked about working hard to realize our potential of a thriving downtown, of our need for an upgraded MBTA train station, once described as the coldest place in America, and our desire to retain the legal community here with a new judicial court complex. I was overjoyed to be serving as mayor in a city that I love, and I was brimming with optimism and a strong commitment to helping Salem realize our full potential. Fast forward 11 years, I'm still brimming with optimism and commitment. I'm still madly in love with the city of Salem and still focused on doing the work we set out to 11 years ago by providing services based on professionalism, not politics, by bringing both hard work and creativity to the job every day, and working to instill values of inclusiveness and openness in all that we do. Now, more important than ever. And by the end of that first fiscal year, we had closed our deficit, began the revival of our waterfront, including the start of a new ferry service, strengthened partnerships with our nonprofit institutions, and had tapped hundreds of residents to participate in a new open form of governing. While that first year was trying, it set the stage for much of the success we've seen over the past decade. Some of those success stories include things like our finances. From having virtually nothing in our rainy day stabilization fund upon taking office, today we have almost $6 million in that account thanks to our work instilling prudent fiscal practices and policies. From having an absolutely dismal bond rating, today we have the highest bond rating in our city's history for 3 years running. Over the last 11 years, we've secured over $100 million in state and federal funding. And I'm not talking about large-scale formula grants. These are the funding applications we competitively have sought and received. This work was very intentional, and we were and are very proactive and aggressive in seeking grants, because we know that we can't expect homeowners to foot the bill for our large-scale projects, and we know that every dollar we earn outside funding is one fewer dollar that we have to ask Salem residents for. From having unbalanced budgets that lack transparency, today I'm extremely proud that for the last 9 years, we've received the Government Finance Officer Association's highest accolades for fiscal transparency. We're one of only a handful of communities in Massachusetts to claim both a Certificate of Excellence for Financial Reporting and a Distinguished Budget Award. I'm a budget nerd, right? But why is that important? Why, for 9 years, to have that kind of transparency and respect is important? because we never want to find ourselves in the financial circumstances we faced just 11 years ago. And following these GFOA standards will ensure that that never ever happens again. Notwithstanding those early fiscal challenges, we made successful strides in reinvesting in our operational public infrastructure and public safety needs, clearly a benefit of having our fiscal house in order. In a city that's nearly 400 years old and still growing, we've worked hard to keep pace with needed investments in public infrastructure and public safety. We've increased our investments in public works, growing our DPW team by 20% and funding a laundry list of neglected maintenance needs and repairs. When you dial 911, you expect a rapid response by a well-trained and well-equipped personnel. 11 years ago, we were understaffed in both of these areas. Today, we've seen our police grow by 15% and our fire department ranks by 20%, bringing our combined public safety personnel complement from 170 men and women to nearly 200 today. We've also invested in public safety technology and equipment, spending over $4 million to replace and upgrade police, fire, and harbor master apparatus. Our public safety personnel need to have modern, functioning equipment, and we remain committed to that goal. Lest anyone think our employees have not contributed to our efforts to rein in costs and improve efficiencies, we've successfully negotiated new contracts with all of our 9 employee unions that reduced skyrocketing health insurance premiums, curbed costly sick leave buyback provisions, and have worked collaboratively, even when we haven't always agreed with each other, on addressing employee and retiree cost factors. In the past 11 years, we were able to invest over $14 million in roads, repaving 277 streets across our city, over 44 miles in all. And that doesn't include the major corridor projects on North, Bridge, and Canal Streets, and the upcoming projects in Essex, Derby, and Boston Streets. By leveraging some of the private development in Salem, we're able to receive over $8 million in Mass Works funding to improve corridors in Blubber Hollow and Riley Plaza. And we've leveraged $3.4 million in 8 separate state park improvement grants to overhaul much of our green space, funding that's in addition to regular city capital and operational funds, CPA grants, and other sources. After more than 20 years of jockeying, work on a long overdue new senior center has finally begun. Praise the Lord. The Mayor Jean Levesque Community Life Center is expected to open in the summer of 2018 at the corner of Boston and Bridge Street. This comes on the cusp of our recently completed age-friendly action plan, Salem for All Ages, designed to help our city with meeting the needs of our aging baby boomer population. I hope you can see that over the last 11 years, we've tried to put our public funds into the things that matter, the services we rely on, and the places that contribute to our quality of life. And that brings me to our public schools. By any and every measure, our investment in education is our city's largest and most important expenditure. We can't be a great city without great public schools. And we're all committed to ensuring that all of our students, and I do mean all, students who come from great wealth or those who have great need, those who were read to each night before bed since birth, to those who have not had as loving and supportive of environment, all of our students must have a chance to thrive. Our school district, and indeed our entire city, is focused on ensuring that our comprehensive education system is one that enables all children to succeed. It is not easy. In fact, it's easily the hardest work we undertake as a community and as a society. It's also the work that will reap the highest returns, and that's just one of the reasons we are so committed to it. In Salem, education is a community mission, and we're fortunate to be led by an outstanding team under the direction of our superintendent, Margarita Ruiz. Thank you for being here and for all you're doing. Since my last update to you, we've seen continued progress in all of our public schools. Our district has shed our Level 4 status. I'm especially pleased that our schools that were once the last choice for many families are now often the first pick. Both Bentley and Carlton have achieved Level 1 designations from the State Department of Education, and they both have waiting lists for access. In addition to our work in these schools, we've added expanded learning time in several of our buildings, increased the use of tutors for students and coaches for staff, set more rigorous curricula and higher expectations, and broadened our use of technology. We're in the midst of currently in the midst of a strategic planning effort that will seek to leverage the accomplishments to date to achieve even greater gains in the years ahead. We're grateful to have outstanding partners in this work, and I especially want to recognize Salem State President Patricia Meservey, who just earlier today announced that she'd be retiring from Salem State. I told her she was way too young to be retiring, but she wouldn't change her mind. I can't thank Pat enough for her commitment of university resources to our public schools. We have strengthened our relationship with Salem State School of Education. We are closer than ever before to finally moving the Horace Mann School to Salem State's South Campus into a building that's better suited for educating elementary children, and certainly a move that will dramatically lessen traffic congestion on Loring Avenue. We're working in close partnership and so many fronts with Salem State. Our students, our educators, our administrators all benefit mightily from the university's dogged commitment to aiding our schools. And none of that would happen without the support of President Meservey. And I really want to give her especially a round of applause and recognize and call out her efforts. We're also grateful for a close collaboration with the Salem Teachers Union and feel fortunate to have such a committed group of educators working in our buildings every single day, focused not only on improving educational success, but also the care and well-being of all our students. Salem is invested in our children's future, and public education remains the most important work we do. There are still challenges ahead, but if anything, I feel more confident than ever that Salem Public Schools are on the right track. Our commitment to our district is paying off in the educational success we are seeing among Salem's kids, and we have no intention of slowing down that effort. Other evidence of success in Salem can be found in our strong local economy. While our city has made investments in education, public safety, and public infrastructure, we're not the only ones investing in Salem, as a litany of private developments are underway or starting soon. Clear evidence of the bullish nature of our local economy and the confidence investors have in our city. Think about it. 11 years ago, there was only a fraction of the restaurants and small businesses that make our downtown so vibrant today. No multimodal MBTA station or new garage, no ferry or cruise port, a state college instead of a state university, no J. Michael Ruane Court Complex, no footprint power, no activity on the brownfields along the North River, no Blaney Street Wharf and Marina, no comprehensive marketing of our city, and little to no management, guidance, or coordination of October's Haunted Happenings events. Over the course of the last decade, we've become the unofficial hub of the North Shore. Our economy is strong and vibrant, with new restaurants and entrepreneurs opening up exciting new ventures in our downtown, on our waterfront, and along our entrance corridors. Initiatives like Inno North are sparking the collaborative fire of our local tech community. A collection of new annual events and festivals, from Salem Jazz and Soul to the Salem Film Fest to the North Shore Pride Parade and the Mass Poetry Festival, have all been initiated over the last decade. They, along with a better managed, better marketed, and safer haunted happenings, make Salem a destination not just in October, but all year long. Steadfast allies like the Chamber, Renus, thanks for being here, the Partnership, Beth Debsky and her team, Main Streets, Kylie, Destination Salem, Kate, the fact that we're all on first names, I hope gives you some impression we spend too much time together. And that's just a few of the organizations in town. All of us come together to really aid that effort. Consider this measure of how robust our local economy is. Our unemployment rate is the lowest it's been since 2002. In the last 11 years, Salem saw nearly 700 new jobs created, an increase of 3%. Over that same time period, our state actually saw a 2% decline. We're clearly bucking the trend. We've added $18.5 million in new growth to our local economy, our local tax reserves over the last 11 years. That helps us sustain our most important city services. And let me just offer a few words on the major projects we're witnessing around the city. As you know, National Grid has just completed a 2-year, $40 million cable replacement project. The Peabody Essex Museum's $49 million expansion project is now underway. North Shore Medical Center's $200 million campus consolidation project is going through final permitting, and the $12 million upgrade to Canal Street is under construction. The next phase of the Canal Street flood control project will be commencing later this year, and as the $55 million probate court project comes to a conclusion, our legislative delegation just secured a bill transferring the former Superior Court and County Court Commissioner buildings to the Salem Redevelopment Authority, securing the preservation and reuse of those visible downtown structures. Special thank you to both Paul and Joan. You probably worked harder on that bill than any other bill in your legislative history, and it's really going to make a big difference downtown to see those buildings alive with activity close to the train station on a major corridor. Thank you. Meanwhile, just up Bridge Street, the $30 million Gateway Center condominium project is about to begin, along with our long-awaited Community Life Center. At the other end of town, Footprint Power, the billion-dollar natural gas plant being constructed on Salem Harbor, expects to be online this summer. As a side benefit of this project, nearly 40 acres of prime waterfront open space will become available for additional development, and for the first time in generations, there'll be public access and walking paths on this property. Moving from coal ships to cruise ships, the city and our new Port Authority will be able to welcome tall ships and other vessels at the former power plant commercial pier. With so much to see and do in Salem, we're seeing a boom in hotels. The Hampton Inn on Riley Plaza, Hotel Salem on the Pedestrian Mall, the Merchant on Washington Street, and new rooms being opened by existing operators like the Hawthorne Hotel and the Salem Inn equates to a 75% increase in the number of hotel rooms in our city. Not only does this increase our hotel tax receipts, it means more people who visit Salem can stay in our community, keeping even more of their spending local. This growth in hospitality is matched by a growth in incredible local dining and craft beverage options. Bit Bar, Orsini, Far From the Tree, Notch, Kokeshi, Flatbread, Deacon Giles. Really, there is no dieting in Salem, ever. Finally, in the North River Canal Corridor, a series of private mixed-use developments are either completed, underway, or soon to start construction. All of these developments will essentially help craft a new neighborhood on these former industrial sites. They also stand to grow our tax base and clean up long, vacant brownfields. There'll be much-needed housing, both market rate and affordable. Clearly, there is no shortage of exciting capital projects taking place in Salem right now, both public and private. With all that's going on in our 8 square miles, I know that growth can be challenging. After all, we're an old city with roads that were built for horse and buggy, and I'm fairly certain that they didn't do a lot of master planning back in the 1600s. That's kind of a joke. All right. I don't think they did much master planning back in 1600s. But it's not lost on me that much of what's happening today is the redevelopment of something that used to be in place in our city. I'm pretty sure there was a lot going on the waterfront during Salem's great age of sail, when clipper ships lined Derby and Central wharves, bound for far-off continents and returned to offload their riches. I'd hazard to guess that the rebuilding after the Great Fire of 1914 saw a huge building boom in our community, as large parts of Salem were both under demolition and construction. I'd say we were pretty busy in the 50s and 60s, when downtown Salem was the regional hub, with numerous movie theaters, bowling alleys, and shopping options. Essex Street was flooded with stores, including the First Filene's, and favorites like Almies and Daniel Lowe's. While the start of the suburban shopping malls initiated a hiatus of our retail success, our city's bold decision to stop the bulldozers during the 80s urban renewal project preserved our downtown historic fabric, and that decision, to this day, along with the growth of the PEM in the 90s, has contributed mightily to our success as a tourism and cultural destination. As much as many of us may long for Almies and Daniel Lowe's, and I know I do at times, we have to accept that those places are not coming back and focus on what will be the next iconic economic driver in our city. You see, standing still isn't a good or realistic option for Salem, and likely not for any city where people want to be. And people want to be in Salem. As a community, it hasn't been our habit to sit back and wait for something positive to happen. We're action-oriented. We focus on what we need to do and go after it. Or as I'm fond of saying, plan the work, work the plan. Many of Salem's founding fathers embraced this notion of being aware of the future and our role in it. Maybe it hails from Nathaniel Bowditch and his Practical Navigator Guide, or from the sea captains using that guide who established the Peabody Marine Society, now the Peabody Essex Museum. Or maybe it's the work ethic and ingenuity of Caroline Emerton, who established the House of Seven Gables Museum to help fund charitable causes. Or is it the tenacity of the Remond family, who persevered over several years to ensure a quality and integrated public school system in our city? Quite simply, in Salem, we punch out of our weight class. And our best success has come from our enduring ability to be thinking about and working on what comes next. So I've talked about the past 11 years. In that time frame, we've checked some of our top priorities off the list. And I do mean we. None of the work underway happens if we don't come together as a community and develop consensus on key projects and initiatives aimed at moving our city forward. None of the big ticket items checked off the list happen until we work in concert with each other. Citizens and local elected officials, state and federal partners. Yes, it takes focused leadership and attention and a willingness to embrace some of the risk that comes along with acting boldly, but it's a lot easier to do that work together. The question I find myself asking the most now is, what's next? How do we make sure our city is best positioned to continue our prosperity? Of course, we'll keep working on the important matters underway, from schools to seniors. Our first job will always be delivering high-quality services to our citizens. But what are the bigger, longer-term priorities that we should be thinking about, adding to the list, and what's the best way to do that? Well, in 9 years, Salem will celebrate a special occasion, our quadricentennial. In 2026, Salem turns 400 years old. Of course, as the third oldest city in Massachusetts, we'll plan for an incredible year-long celebration of our history, our community, and our future. But frankly, that's the easy part, the party, the fireworks, whatever craziness we come up with a decade from now. More important is how we use our 400th anniversary as a catalyst for answering the question of what kind of city do we want to be in 10 years? From schools to housing and transportation and to employment. Let's set some expectations for ourselves, put some new things on the list, and then work to get them done. Through funding provided by state grant, we've launched an effort entitled Imagine Salem, a community visioning process that will bring together people, organizations, and businesses from across our community to have a conversation together about what we want our community to look like in 2026. What kind of city do we want Salem to be by then? What legacy will we pass on to the next generation of Salem workers, entrepreneurs, parents, and leaders? In what state will we hand off our schools, not just to our children, but to their children? Can we make it easier to access services or get around Salem? How do we make sure that prosperity has a wide impact? We'll answer these questions together through the Imagine Salem visioning process. Of course, even here in Salem, we don't have a crystal ball. 25 years ago, I had a mobile phone about the size of a shoebox, and I thought I was the coolest thing in town. Now I'm attached to a device about the size of my palm, and I don't know anyone's phone number. Nor do I have to. By this, I mean we don't know exactly what the future holds, and many matters may be outside our control, but Imagine Salem will help us shape the important aspects of our community that are within our control and help us set a collective course forward with a deadline to achieve what we value. What makes the city great? You can ask urban planners, researchers, you can study greats like Jane Jacobs or other acclaimed experts. You'll find lots of answers, and that's because cities need to be a lot of things. When you think about the services you rely on from government, the things that matter the most tend to be delivered at the local level. It's your local school that helps ensure your child receives a first-class education. Your local police and fire officials help keep your neighborhood safe, and roads and parks and sidewalks, all maintained by city public works crews. What makes a city great tends to be the people who live here and the influence they bring to bear on the things they use every day and rely on every day. I feel fortunate and humbled to be in a position to help with answers to the question of what makes our city great. I'm as excited and optimistic as I was 11 years ago about our future and pledge to continue providing services based on professionalism, not politics, by bringing both hard work and creativity to the job every day and working to instill values of inclusiveness and openness to all. As we chart our course for the future, I'm looking forward to working with members of the council, our state and federal legislative delegation, as well as our active and engaged citizenry on a plan that addresses our challenges, builds on our strengths, and seeks to enable every member of our community to share in our success. I like to say that Salem is hip and historic. That means we embrace who we were and who we aspire to be. and I wouldn't want to be mayor in a city that believed or behaved any differently. Thank you for your shared interest, for your best efforts, and for your faith in our collective abilities to do this work together. It's going to be a great year.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Driscoll, for those very informative and thoughtful remarks and for reminding us of just what a special place we live in. And I do have a question. Do you sleep? Yeah. Okay. All right. Right now, I would like to recognize Councilor Fury.
A motion to adjourn, Madam President?
All those in favor? All those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all.